Good evening. With fears of a budget shortfall dominating this legislative session, Nebraska lawmakers have finally passed a plan this afternoon.
Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen says the plan closes a $432 million budget gap. Senators told us earlier this week this means a number of agencies will receive flat funding. Others, like the Nebraska State Patrol and the State Fire Marshal, are dealing with minor cuts. In a statement today, Governor Pillen says the budget gives the state flexibility to address property taxes. He praised lawmakers for what he called a historic agreement. Bennington Senator Wendy DeBoer says she has no confidence in the plan.
The emperor has no clothes. This budget is based on a series of sleight of hands with cash transfers where the money is maybe not there.
Aye. All those opposed, vote nay.
Pillen says he will now review the budget for any further spending reductions. Governor is expected to sign a bill into law limiting kratom products earlier this year. The Nebraska Attorney General called for a complete ban of the product in Nebraska. Now, kratom is a herbal supplement that alters your mental state. A bill to outlaw it entirely did not advance out of committee. The bill that passed, LB 230, it bans the sale to people under 21. It also outlaws products targeted at children and requires warning labels.